we are lacking that. An entrepreneur will think in a different manner. They have the adaptability. They have that working talent in them. They think in a different manner. We need to go with entrepreneurial mindset. We have to create that in our students. And that is one of our goals. And we have that target, of course, by the next 5 years, within the next 5 years, to go to 15%, that entrepreneurial mindset should be created in our students, and they will go for that. With that, we will be able to, I think, of course, go to the world and get what we want. And the fourth goal, an effective, efficient, work-oriented citizen contributing to sustainable developmental goals or sustainable, let's say, sustainable national development. That is needed. Isn't that so? We need that. And that work efficiency, are we creating trained workers? We do not. So the national education plan, the system should be changed. These types of goals should be brought out. Then only we will be able to make a change in this world. And let us go for that. That is what we suggest. With that, I would like to hand over to Nuwanmini, please.
Okay, thank you, Shamantha. Okay, now here we are here to talk about the strategic management plan. Before that, I think we have to analyze, or we have to scan the major factors in our environment where the national education system is in now at the moment. For that, I think the pestle analysis is the most suitable thing, because there we can measure, or there we can identify the threats or the opportunities we can find in our environment. So let's see the pestle analysis. As you can see in the slide, the word pestle stands for political, economic, social, technological, environment, and legal aspects. The first one is the political factor. Okay, as you know, or as you have experienced, what would happen if the political situation is not stabilized in our country, or instability of the political situation? What will happen? Yes, normally the process will get disturbed because of that. So I think it is very, I think it is, we can identify it as a threat for the system. And also, we won't be able to have fixed national policy because of that. So it would be a great threat for our system. And also the trade union actions. Very recently also we have experienced those type of critical issues. So we can identify it as a threat, or sometimes it will be an opportunity also. Next one is the economic factor. That is the most crucial thing in our society at the moment. So the important thing is high rate of school dropouts there. So in our education system, we can see most of the students may leave the school before completing their secondary education because of the poverty. So here we don't have any method, or we don't direct them into vocational training or any other thing. So it will be a threat again. Next one is the mismatch of the curriculum and the demand of the job market. As we all know, still we are unable to provide, or still we are unable to make a human capital for the work of world, right? So I think it is also a great threat in our system. Next one is the budget allocation. Here again, with this economic crisis in our country, we won't be able to allocate much fund for the education system. So there we face a lot of problems in making infrastructure facilities and giving other facilities to the students and also to the schools, making it a great trouble or a threat. Next one is the social factor. So at very recent time, brain drain has become a very great problem. That means most knowledgeable person, or the with high professional qualification, they start to leave the country making it worse. So we have to take necessary measurement to avoid those things. Next one is the cultural barriers. I mean, when implementing some subject matters or some curriculum, some some cultures, they affect the things, especially in sex education and all. Next one is that is also a threat. We can identify it as a threat. Next one is the learning approaches. I'm so glad because these days we are applying some new teaching methods that I see as an opportunity. Next one is the technological factors. They are with the COVID pandemic situation in our school system. Now we are moving to digital platforms. So that is most important thing in our system, because most of the time teaching and learning process has taken by Zoom and other modern technical devices and all. So that is a good point. And also learners, we have to identify learners as IR4, zero generation. So the teaching learning process should be modernized or should be changed according to their taste and all. Next one is the environmental factors. That is, I think at the moment we are having some main facts there in our syllabus and all, especially the disaster management and natural disasters and waste disposal. Those are common in our system. So next factor is the legal factor. All two things I have mentioned in the slides are opportunities, I think, because the circulars, laws and rules and regulation all there in our system, and especially the child protection laws. That is very important there, and it is an opportunity for us. And when we want to implement a strategic plan, we have to make sure to protect those laws and things. So I would like to move to the microenvironment next. There we can have microenvironment mean the closest things to the system. Those are policymakers, developers and implementers, and also the education administrators, teachers and the students. So I would like to move to Menaka for the further description.
Yes, now we have pestle analysis, and let's think about the way we go from our vision and mission to the outcome. How can we go from the mission and vision to the outcome? Strategies. We need strategies for that. Actually, strategic positioning is a strategy we can use in this regard. How we can move our generation of students from knowledge-orientedness to the skill-orientedness, right? There we activities and processes, we have identified these activities and processes that we can add value to these activities and processes in order to come to the outcome, to achieve our objectives. Here, we didn't divide these activities into primary and supportive, because with the importance may change with time. So, for example, for the time being, developing the curriculum for the 21st century is the most important thing, right? The other activities and processes can be considered as supportive activities. Assembling infrastructure, training of the human resource, digital material designing, implementing through hybrid and online mode, assessing through hybrid online mode. We have identified those activities as the activities we can add values. Then we have resources and competencies. Resources, now to train our students, to make them skillful, we already have to fairly satisfactory level human resources. We have a very good set of trained teachers from national colleges of education and the departments of education of the universities, we have that resource with us now. Physical resources also, we have computer labs in our schools. Although there are schools, I mean, rural village schools, still they don't have facilities. And the digital resources, we have specially included this here because for the 21st century, everything is becoming digital. So we need to use digital resources, and we should train our students to use digital resources also to get skillful. For example, for the time being, we have e-Taksalawa, and examination department is also considering of having apps, programs, digital programs for the evaluation and assessment purpose. So we have these resources. Competences, functioning of the institutional structure. Actually, starting from the ministry to the schools, we already have a functioning, I can say, functioning well, institutional structure. And also we have set of people, those who are already trained, actually like us. I think after, especially after this course at PIM, we will be resources. We are already resources, I know. We will be resources. With that, I would like to pass the presentation to Apsara.
Okay, our issue is this strategic plan for the education system, isn't it? Today, our main topic is that. So can we do this as simply as this? Can we do it? What is your suggestion? So there are so much to do, so much things to do. And for this, I think before evaluating, before doing any strategic plan, before implementing that, we have to do a SWOT analysis. Why do we do a SWOT analysis? What is the need of that? What's the importance of a SWOT analysis? Do you know? And yes, as you all know, by a SWOT, we look where we are. We search where we are and where we should go. So we can identify our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and also threats. All these are important when we do something. We have to consider these things. So before implementing a strategic plan like that, we have to do a SWOT analysis for the organization. So I think you all agree in that. So what are our strengths? As you all know, Sri Lankan government regards education as a human right. It's a human right. So it's given free from grade 1 to the first level of degree level, first degree level from 1947, from Kannangara era. So that is given, that is started far away in the history. So it's very important. That is why we are now experiencing a very high literacy rate. So that is the biggest strength we have. Now, according to the statistics, it's 92.38 by now. So it's a very high point considering the South Asian countries. So because of that, it has been able to give some more opportunities. The attractiveness to the education has gone high, and the retention is also high. Most of the girls and boys now come to school. They try to learn. So the retention is very high. And why are we here? Now, we are adults. Why are we here? Because we have intrinsic motivation to learn. We all have come here to learn, and we all seek for educational opportunities. So we have intrinsic motivation. All the Sri Lankans have that. Not actually all, almost all, 95% actually, right? So we have that motivation. So it's not supported. we'll see to the weaknesses. And another strength we have is the reduction of this violence and crime. Actually, it's not reduced, but everything is reduced, but the political violence is still there. I think we have to find solution for that. We go for weaknesses in this system. We all know we have taught in government schools for a very long period of time before coming to this position. So it's exam oriented. Is it good? We have to think about that. So we have to plan to eliminate these weaknesses and the overloaded curriculum. The curriculum is there, but it's overloaded. But let it be overloaded. Is it sufficient to address the future needs, future world of work? We have to think about that. So the poor performance of maths and science is also a problem. So the future of the Sri Lankan students is a little bit low. And attention in extracurricular activities. There are so many extracurricular activities in schools. They all are in the books, not implemented. No proper trained teachers. And the teachers do not like to stay after school or engage in those things because of that load of work in the curriculum. And next one, the high dropout rate. As my friends explained earlier, there's a big dropout rate in Sri Lanka. And if I go to the next one, the unequal distribution of resources. This is not only for schools, but all the education institutions. For example, I work in a teacher center. In my teacher center also, there are so many lapses. We need so many things. When it rains, it gets flooded. And when the teachers are there for the trainings, there are no proper seats to sit. Only one computer is there. So there are things like that. So unequal distribution of resources is a problem in this country. So that has to be considered. And less opportunities to enter the higher level education, higher education. How many universities are there in Sri Lanka? How many? Can you say? Yes, 15 universities. But how many are going to enter those universities? They drop out, right? So the last one, but not the least one, there are so many weaknesses, unreacted world of work. So all these things go, the ultimate aim is to find a job, but that is not satisfied in the Sri Lankan education system. So the opportunities are somewhat, we have to think about that, strengthening the education policy. We still have time to improve all these things, to improve the textbooks. Are you satisfied with the textbooks? And are you satisfied with the curriculum? The local curriculum and the international curriculum, there's a big difference in that. The grade 3 students in our schools still learn how to count 1 to 10. But in international schools, they have gone beyond thousands. So what do you think about the curriculum? Doesn't it need to change? Huh? So there are opportunities in Sri Lanka, but nobody is there to take parts in that. So valuable natural resources and human resources, that is another thing, that opportunity we have. Valuable natural resources, what about the sun rays? We don't use them properly. What about the human resource we have? As Sir mentioned in the morning, a lot of people have gone abroad. They migrate. Now, this country is not going to be a suitable place for them. So we are going to lose those resources. And I missed one, the favorable living conditions in the country. This is the most favorable country in the world to live. If you have experiences in other countries, you might agree with me. Okay, high individual motivation for education. And I explained that earlier also. We all are here because we have an intrinsic motivation to learn. So the threats in our educational system are very high. So if I go like this, I explained in the opportunities, the migration level, it has gone high. So what's the reason? The quality in the education system, quality in local education has gone low. And the quality in prevailing study courses, there are no proper study courses for us, for the people who, to achieve their goals. So another one is the unassisted educational instructions, as I explained, taking my institution as an example. So there are so many things to be considered in this education system. So we have to consider all these things to build up a strategic plan, a good strategic plan. So the good people, the professionals, will not search for more greener pastures. So I think we have to see whether our plan will work in the future. Let's see. So I invite my friends who are joining online. There are 3 members of our group who are joining online. So first of all, I invite Risvi to continue our presentation. Risvi, over to you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I would like to explain this my path. It is evaluating strategy. There is so many tools and steps to evaluate the strategy. I think it is some famous steps is there. One is the establish standards, measure performance, analyze results, make adjustment, set goals. On the other hand, critical factors that could help in evaluating strategy, especially one is qualitative factors and quantitative factors. Other slides. Here, we try to mention some evaluating points according to the above mentioned explanation. Please, other slides. Especially, I would like to express ideas and some suggestion through the main 5 focusing area. First is surviving stakeholders. There is some indicators to evaluate about stakeholders. We can evaluate through the indicators about stakeholders. Second is classroom observation, especially evaluate through the indicators that highly quality lesson development, assessment, planning and approach to the lesson. Other is implementation of projects related to the development of student competency. Third criteria is overall development. There is a co-curriculum and co-curriculum activities measured. There is some indicators using and physical human resources productivity to create a positive learning environment. Second is utilize some physical resources productively and effectively in improving the learning teaching process. Development creativity skills and student potentialities and through the various program. Fourth is standardized test score of the student and their achievement. This is one of the evaluate strategy. There is some indicators we can use. Analyzing the achievement level according to the term test marks and maintaining records. Other hand, national level examination results. Finally, final criteria of this evaluation strategy, data gathered on school leavers, current status. There also we can measure through the some recording. That means achievement level term test marks and other records. This is the some strategic evaluation path. This is my area. I would like to next presenter, Mr. Miraj, to over to.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rizvi. My part is implementing strategy. The success of our strategic plan with a vision of creating a skilled citizen for the 21st century depends on the manner in which it is implemented. What is implementing in strategy? Implementing in strategy is the process by which strategies are put into action through the development of programs, budgets, and procedures. We can say the formulating strategy, it will answer the question of what and why. But implementing a strategy, it will answer the question of who, where, when, and how. Next slide, please. Yeah. Resources. Resources are very important in implementing a strategy. A plan can fail when resources are not distributed properly. In this way, if today's education program is to be adapted to the 21st century, human resources need to be trained well. Training should be imparted to become 21st century competent. Similarly, digital and IT related facilities and resources also should be distributed as required. Laboratory facilities and infrastructure facilities also should be distributed properly. Next slide, please. Another factor influencing the implementation of this strategic planning is leadership. There are various leadership styles, but we propose the situational leadership style as the most suitable style for implementing this strategic plan with the vision of creating a skilled citizen for the 21st century. This type of leadership allows to find solutions to unexpected problems and situations and to take advantage of opportunities. Also, it is a role that can be worked on at 4 levels: performing, norming, storming, and forming. Next slide. Change management is another important aspect of implementing a strategy. In order for the strategic plan to bring about massive changes in the education sector, it is very important to create a tendency to absorb the changes in its employees, such as teachers, educational authorities, students, and school community. For this, we can follow the 3 steps model of change, which is unfreeze, movement, and refreeze. Next, I invite Mr. Abdurrahman to continue the presentation. Thank you. Mr. Abdurrahman.
All right. Strategic management plan for national education system. So out of the big task, the performance monitoring is very important. The monitored tasks are performed well. The performance of the monitored tasks have brought good results than the others. So here the balanced scorecard. Next, features of a balanced scorecard. It's there. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points are key points are there. All right. And KPIs. What are KPIs? The simple explanation is there. So the aligning with the vision, mission, and the objectives that we have found, we have identified some key features, key performance indicators, a lot. Out of them, we have put one each aligning to the vision, mission, and objective. Next one. So here it is. Aligning to the objectives, we have found a lot of critical success factors and KPIs. So among a lot of critical success factors and KPIs, we have added one each to aligning with objectives. First one, create human citizen with patriotism. Second one, make empathetic individuals. Those are the objectives of this strategic management plan of Sri Lankan education system. Train to think differently and produce human capital, create role model. These 5 objectives are combined with the customer side, right? Not the employee side or the financial side. There are 3 sectors. Out of 3, this is only the lineup with the customer side. Customers mean those who are undergo with the education, training, and teaching and everything. All right. The critical success factors, out of the lot of factors, we have identified respect and protect the public resources. That comes under objectives, create human citizens with patriotism. At the same time, help and assist each other. That is one of the critical success factor. And the other one is find alternatives in day-to-day tasks and activities. This is a huge area, but it is mentioned critical success factor under the objective of train to think differently. Right. The next one is produce human capital. Human capital, producing human capital from the preschool stage to the university level and even the tertiary education level. We have to, we are lack of human capital. So we have to mold them, we have to guide them, we have to train them, we have to put into track to produce human capital. So individuals with more than 2 language literacy is one of the critical success factors in that objective. And the next one is create role model. So role model is very much important than preaching individuals. Are we teaching today? Are we training today? Are we gaining knowledge? Are we giving experience to the students and our customers? Or the best way, the better way is being a role model than preaching and teaching and training is one of the factors. So under that one, under that objective, we have found mutual respect and ideal personalities is one of the personal success factor under that one. And KPIs, there are ample of KPIs for under each and every objectives. So we have put selecting one to this table, that is maintain all physical resources clean and tidy. That is a very simple thing. We can start from the preschool level and the schools, and we know how these physical resources are wasted and not protected. So we have to slowly, this is only the customer-based sector we are concentrating. So maintain all physical resources clean and tidy is one, and no quarrels and conflicts in and out of the institute. So, you know, there are a lot of various quarrels happening in the school, in the preschool, in the universities and everywhere. So we have to mitigate that one. We have to get that into 0 level. So alternatives and entrepreneurship in day-to-day tasks. Alternatives and entrepreneurship in day-to-day tasks mean for each and everything, for doing an assignment, for doing a presentation, for doing presenting in an assembly. So each and everything, the students or the customers will be guided and they are given proper knowledge and experience using various techniques and technologies. So updated resource inventory, that is very much important to produce a human capital. We are updating, we have inventories in each and every institute, but do we have any human resource inventory in our school? Human human resource inventory in our school? No, we have to update resource inventory in each and every institute, from school, primary school, secondary school, tertiary institution, and even in the Ministry of Education. We have to go for that and create a role model. Achievers of the month, achievers of the year, we should celebrate, we should motivate to bring the best practices out of them. These are the very simple one key points from KPIs and critical success factors towards the objectives that we have found. Shamata, next, please. So this is the ultimate, right? All the key performance indicators are highlighted to satisfied customers, financially healthy, and satisfied employees. So all the other key performance indicators mentioned in this slide are on systems, in information, on feedback, on data, employees, and everything is included here in this one. So this is the end of our presentation. Thank you very much.
Relation group.
So now I am going to give peer assessment for group 7. First, beginning of the presentation is very excellent by remembering the prevailing education system in Sri Lanka. A delivery method is very excellent. Third one, first I will say positive factors. Combination of each group members, especially online members, without foods and drinks, they do in their best. They try to do in their best without foods and water. Fourth one, slides creation also good and information also very clear to all us. So there is a few negative factors. Only one, the time duration is over, more than 10 minutes gets over. So finally, I can say overall presentation is good. Thank you.
Right. If I start from a positive note, I think the all presenters have done a good job. So I think up to now, I think that's the best presentations. Right. So when it comes to the presentations, right. So then I saw some additional thing, or even if you look at the last slide, for example, they have gone to the next step in balance scorecard. This strategic map, right? So even we have not discussed that one in the classroom. So they have added that one. So except I saw two spelling mistakes. One is weaknesses, other one is resources in two places, right? In the presentations. Except that, that's fine, right? So I can give 22.5 for them, right?
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, my colleagues. We are group number 8. Here are our members for today. Actually, we 2 are physically present here and 3 are going to join online. Objectives of this presentation, actually, we are going to discuss about current situation of our national education system. Then we move to vision, mission, objectives, goals and targets that we have developed. And we are going to discuss about our strategies and how we are going to implement and how we are going to evaluate and monitor. And finally, we are going to discuss about the monitoring process of our strategies. As for the next, I would like to pay your attention about the vision and mission that we have developed. Our vision is to provide talented, creative, responsive and intelligent citizens with Sri Lankan identity who respect the motherland. And our mission is to utilize our resources and expertise to deliver efficient, equitable, and optimal education service to all level of education system. So the values you can see here, integrity, respect, empathy, inclusiveness, excellence, and diversity. So as for goals, there are 5 goals that we have developed. So you can see the first one is ensure access to equality education at all levels from primary to tertiary, irrespective of gender, social status or location. So you know that equal access to education is at a questionable state in our country due to the poverty, maybe due to the location, the geographical location, likewise. So it must be minimized. So one goal is that. The second one is enhance the quality of teaching and learning by promoting innovative and creative pedagogies. That means our learning teaching process must be a creative and innovative for the 21st century. So we are discussing about we have discussed about that and set this goal. Develop critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, and creativity among students. We have identified when we are in schools, we have identified our creativeness in our students and innovativeness in students are very much far behind than other countries. Even though we have a high literacy rate, we do not have much innovations in our country. So we must address that and we have to develop that. Then the promote research and development in science, technology. Of course, you know, from morning we have discussed this, the STEM education. So that is a very much important thing in our 21st century. So that is another goal. As the last one, enhance the relevance and responsiveness of education to the needs of the economy, society and environment. That means we have to target our job market or the world of work in our education system. So we know that education system is must be very strengthful, up-to-date one in order to develop our country. So this is very much important because we have to set our goals. We have to set our targets, objectives, or the whole system. We have to apply all the strategies in order to target the world of work. As the next, here we have developed 7 objectives. So I won't take much time to read all these objectives. But I like to pay my attention on targets because we have studied much data, statistics before we are setting these targets. So here we have, as the first one, increase the enrollment rate of children in primary and secondary schools to 99% by 2025. Of course, we have good enrollment rate in primary education, but when it comes to secondary and tertiary education, we know that it is very much somewhat far behind. So one target is that. Next, the improve the learning outcomes of students by 20%, because we know when we are setting the targets, they must be achievable. So of course, we have mentioned that in 5 years or 2 years likewise, so it must be achievable. So by 20% in next 5 years, increase the percentage of qualified and trained teachers to 90% by 2025. You know that we are recruiting teachers from national colleges, degree holders, B.Ed teachers likewise, but still there are some teachers, those who have not achieved their qualifications while they are working in the school. So we are targeting that group also. Next, upgrade the infrastructure and facilities of at least 10% of the schools, because we have given this 10%. We know now we are facing economic crisis, so it is sometimes it is impossible to increase in a larger percentage of these kind of infrastructure facilities. So the next one, increase the number of STEM graduates by 30% in the next 5 years. We know in other presentations also, they have discussed about this issue. We have lots of art degree holders, but the STEM, we are targeting these STEM graduates. They are the ones we need to develop the country. I'm not discriminating those other graduates, but according to this, where we have to go as a country is depending on this. Increase the participation rate of girls and rural youth in higher education. Of course, we know that now situation is boys are not enrolling in higher educations, but in rural areas, sometimes the girls also face this. So as the last, establish effective school management committees, public and private partnerships. We know that school-based management must be is a key factor that we can use in development of education as a whole, the whole system. So we can take the public and private partnerships. We can take all the stakeholders together into a one table and make the use of them in order to effective school-based management, activate effective school-based management. So as the next, I would like to move to my online friend, Mrs. Usna, for the presentation to continue this.
Thank you, Yashoda. I am Husna starting from this. And actually, as we know, before we implement any strategy, we have to scan the environment where we live. So for our strategy, we scan the environment. So first, we are going to talk about the political context. As we know, Sri Lanka has divided into provinces. So we have line ministry and provincial councils in order to provide the better education. The line ministry does a separate part, and provincial council, they do separate part. There are provincial schools and national schools. And some of the duties have also assigned accordingly. Next, we are paying attention to the civil war. We have been experiencing 30 years civil war inside the country. So now we are living in a post-conflict country. So we have to identify some problems related to conflict. And as we know, Sri Lanka is a democratic country. According to the 1978 constitution, we have election every 5 years for parliament to elect the president as well as the provincial council and local council. So we see that one as a issue actually, because any government can't keep the same policy. Whenever a new government comes, they try to change the education policy. So there is a lack of continuity. So it's a problem for us. And when we go and scan the economic context, we used to be a agricultural economy based. Now, however, now we become as a service based economy. So more attention have to be paid to the service sector when we are introducing a new strategy. And this one also have been identified by researchers, mismatches between the school curriculum and job market. There are a lot of job vacancies in market, but our graduates who comes from the universities can't meet those requirements. And low rate of return from education, as we know, education is a service. So we invest money to the education from our GDP. However, the return is very low because another reason is the brain drain to overseas. So the return to the Sri Lankan economy is low. And as a developing country, Sri Lanka is always depending on foreign funds such as World Bank, Asian Development Bank for aids. So this is not a this is also a problem for us. And we pay more attention to the social background. We are very lucky. Already we have marked the literacy rate 96, and most of our parents are very keen to teach their children. So it's a strength for us. There's a significant gender gap in education, as researchers identified. These days, the girls having higher enrollment rates than boys. Social disparity is also identified between estate sector, rural sector, and urban sector. In social scanning, we have identified, as all we know, Sri Lanka is a multi-ethnic country. It's also sometimes it's a strength and sometimes it's become as a threat. When we talk about the technological context to implement our strategy, successful strategy, after COVID, actually after COVID, we paid more attention to the digital infrastructure, providing digital infrastructure to the schools, because COVID showed us the need for the digital infrastructure. We provided tabs and we provided high power internet connection to the schools, laboratories, and we trained the teachers as well. So it's also it should be considered when we implement a new strategy. And initiatives to promote e-learning and digital literacy with the fund from the GEMP and from the fund from Provincial Council. We have empowered all the schools with schools and teachers with e-learning facilities. However, there are some teachers in remote areas and estate areas who are not capable to teach computer assisted learning. When we move to next context, environmental context, Sri Lanka has started to incorporate environmental issues and content to the curriculum, especially to the geography subject. We talk about natural hazards and how we are overcoming those problems, and exposure of schools to natural disasters. Already we have formed groups to face these natural disasters very successfully according to the area the school situated. Geographical barriers is also there. We know that Sri Lanka is a tropical country, so we experience a different weather all over the years. So we included all this content to the curriculum and teach them how to face successfully. And geographical barriers mean that we have upcountry, low country, and the coastal areas. So accordingly, we have to diversify our curriculum. We moved the legal issues. Already, Sri Lanka has succeeded to include compulsory the Child Labor Act and Child Rights Act to their constitution. And compulsory education act is also there. Every schools, the principal is the leader for that group, and they have to get together and find out the students' attendance and the dropouts rate and survival rate. The children from 5 to 16, they have to come to school. Otherwise, there is a rule to punish the parents as well. More, we scan our environment to implement our strategy. The micro environment, there are competitors. As we know, there are international schools and there are learners, staffs, and stakeholders. So we must consider the micro environment when we are forming a strategy. And these are the values we are going to add to the system with our strategy. First, we are going to change or format the content. Actually, we propose to include general law, vocational education, and STEM education and above. As we know, last week, the Sri Lanka has conducted and introduced the STEM and above activity-based oral English for the children in grade 1. So these are the good initiations. So we want to promote those things some more. And we propose to reduce the content. Actually, we think the student in O level, actually the 16 years or 17 years old, the 9 subject is too heavy to them. So we propose this, that reducing the content and reducing the content of education, the number of subjects. 21st century new curriculum is also going to propose these things. We are going to propose some compulsory subject for the whole students, and whenever they want, they can select the subjects like advanced mathematics, extended learning subjects. So as a methodology, we propose to implement module methods instead of the current syllabus, and authentic learning and self-learning. During the COVID season, we got to know that we have to train the children to learn themselves. Self-learning is very important. So student-centered education, and every time the teachers have to inculcate 21st century skills when they are when they are preparing teaching and learning methodologies like project methods, higher order thinking skills. So teachers have to move from teacher-centered education to student-centered, and by incorporating 21st century skills. When we talk about the assessment, our proposal is to our strategy propose to implement to give more priority to the SBA instead of the final national assessment. It's a summative assessment. Instead of summative, we propose the formative assessment in classroom under the guidance of the teacher. They have more priority to SBA. Then only the children who can't read and write also can perform to show their creativity through SBA, school-based assessment. And we have another plan to educate the teachers in service and pre-service. We have a professional development plan. So every teachers, they come to join the teaching profession, and every 5 years they have to check their performance. Otherwise, we can't send them to the classroom. As drivers, teachers should also possess license to teach in the class. That's why the previous presentation said some teachers are there, they are not ready, they are not capable to go to the class and teach. So those we identify those things as a barrier and heavy burden to the Sri Lankan economy. So by giving a license, we can send the other teachers actually home and establish new teacher recruitment and placement policy accordingly Sri Lanka needs. So we propose that strategy as well. And as supportive value chain, we ensure the necessity infrastructure, then only the teachers can add more value to the children's skills, attitude, and knowledge. So these are our suggestions, and these are the values we are going to add to the system. My next friend, Niranjala, is going to start from this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Husna. Good afternoon, you all. I'm doing the corporate appreciation part of our strategic development process. As you know, this SWOT analysis is needed to create good strategic plan. You know, strong education system play vital role in the development of the of any country. So the careful or systematic analysis of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats provide the good understanding to formulate a strategic plan. So let's look at what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats we have to consider when formulating a strategic plan. As for the strengths, we have identified that high literacy rate of 93% and pre-education provide the learners to gain knowledge, required knowledge and skills to cater the needs of the country. And also there is equity education and high access to education. It is also an additional strength to our national education system. And also when we consider about the participation to the education, it is provided to all citizens of our country. It is a strength to our national education system. And you know that there is a well-established curriculum in our country. And also we consider about the quality of the education, pre-education. So it is a strength to our nation. All of these strengths affects the high survival rate of students in our national education system. And when we consider about weaknesses of our national education system, unequal distribution of physical resources coupled with inadequate resources provide or cause certain weaknesses to our national education system. And when we consider about our curriculum, the curriculum does not match with our needs, the needs of the country. It results in the development of graduates who are not capable of doing the country, or not capable of contributing to the national development. And when we consider about the teaching methods we use, they are also somewhat rigid. That teaching methods does not concentrate on the abilities of learners or the learning styles. So we consider it as a weakness of our national education system. And low quality and the quantity of in-service teacher training programs are also weaknesses to our system. And when we consider about the stakeholders' attitudes, they have negative attitudes towards national education system. All these provide weaknesses, all these add weaknesses to our national education system. And when we consider about the opportunities to the national education system, there are opportunities to the national education system. There are many opportunities to the national education system. When we consider about the global collaboration and the exchange of best practices, we can say the national education system has enough opportunities to develop or growth, and opportunities to utilize emerging technologies and tools, and the partnerships with international agencies provide additional opportunities to the development of the national education system. And when we consider about threats, however, some external factors create threats to our national education system, like political and economical influences will be threats to our national education system. Also, all of you know the present crisis also result in inadequate allocation of resources to the national education system. And also, when we consider about the natural disasters, global pandemics, and rapid changes of technologies, some shifts in political priorities, all of those things create threats to the national education system to delay the progress of the system. So, in conclusion, when we consider about this analysis, in conclusion, we can say, despite having adequate strengths to develop the country, this analysis highlights some areas of weaknesses that the national education system should address. So there are opportunities the system can evolve and improve, and also there are some threats that the system should prepare to face. So, considering all these things, we decided to have a new strategic plan to address these issues. So here you can see what we propose in our new strategic plan. When formulating this strategic plan, we have considered many strategic choices. After considering many strategic choices, we have formulated a new strategy. The new strategy consists of or concentrate on developing national education system in 4 areas. Here you can see the concern 4 areas. The first one is equity, and the second area is quality of the education, and the third component is stewardship, and the last one is evidence-based education policy making and planning. Under these components or under these areas, we are going to implement new strategies to meet the current needs of the country. Under the first component or the first area to be developed, we are considering about inclusive education, mobile teaching, and modified modules for differently abled children. And under the section 2, that is the quality of the education, we are planning to improve the quality of general education by the development of infrastructure. Especially, we consider to develop digital platforms, and also we consider to empower teachers. And under the third area, we are going to work with digitized monitoring systems and empowering school-based assessment. Under fourth area, we are going to empower SBM, that is school-based management, where the leaders, the principals can make their policies and they can make their own plans to develop their schools. So these are the areas we are going to develop under our new strategic plan. My friend Riaz will explain more about our strategic plan. Over to you, Riaz.
Thank you, Ms. Niranjana. So next item, National Education Plan in Sri Lanka Education System, implementing strategy. Second, monitoring strategy. So there are important 2 items here. So implementing strategy. So we can see the slide. First of all, finance, leaders, and value chain. It's a very important area. So finance side allocate considerable percentage from GDP to education. So, and policies ensure the equal distribution of education resource. Priorities the equity improvement in education for sustainable economic development is a very important area. So leaders, so MOE in collaboration with very important, including, so audience can see, so SLES, SLTS, SLPS, and SLTS, very important leadership. So value chain. So value chain, so input, activities, output, outcome, and impact. So value chain here, development talented, creative, responsive, and intelligent citizens with Sri Lankan identity who respect the motherland. So value chain. So we can move next slide. So monitoring performance is a very important insight. So National Education Plan in Sri Lankan sector. So balance scorecard. What is the balance scorecard? So a well-instructed report that can be used by leaders to achieve goals. So we can divide to parts: perspective, comment. So perspective, 4 items here. First of all, financial perspective. So comment the pass rates of students. Second, customer perspective, a common learning environment and satisfaction with instruction and service. So third, internal process perspective, very important. So learner survival, graduation readiness. So for innovation and learning perspective. So common, we can introduce academic strength and weakness recognition and reflection. So very important area, balance scorecard. So national education plan in Sri Lanka sector. So implementing and monitoring, very important this area. So thank you very much. At the next slide, Mrs. Asina will continue this part.
Okay, thank you, sir. According to the view of Riaz and Nirangalamis, our monitoring performance is evaluating and especially in 4 areas. Especially these 4 areas, we can identify the KPI system based on a statistical wise. The first area is strengthen equity in education. Under this one, we can enlarge 4 criteria with indicators. According that one, the first one is total retention, survival rate, transition rate, maintain gender. When we see the 4, total retention increased in upper secondary education to 90%, primary and lower secondary maintained at 90-60%. Survival rate increased to 80% in estate sector and 98% in urban sector. Likewise, transition rate increased primary to secondary to 100%, secondary to upper secondary to 75%. Last one, maintain gender parity nearly 1-to-1 at each level. When we see the area of second one, the improved quality of general education, as already said Ms. Nirangala Miss, according to this one, the national level examinations, we can see that. We can see GC O-level pass rate of school candidates increased to 70-30%. At the same time, A-level pass rate of school candidate increased to 70%. Likewise, student outcomes of grade 4 and grade 7 also increased in a subject-wise. The last one, student and teacher ratio should be decreased to 1-to-15 in 2025. The third concern area, strengthen stewardship and service delivery of general education. Under this one, we can identify the KPI system, effective implementation of EPSI to improve cognitive and socio-emotional skills in each school levels. The other one is recruiting executive officers and curriculum developers with master's qualification to develop their career skills by giving the opportunities to getting foreign training by authentic institutions. The next one, increase SEQI of all schools by 50% in 2025. Last one, developing all zonal education at the same time the other institution as well as best service delivery centers. The fourth area, we can identify enhance evidence-based education in policy making and planning. Under this one, there is a 4 criteria within especially statisticals wise. GDP share on education increased to reasonable level gradually. Next one, a national education policy approved and in progress in the education system. Implemented need based financial mechanism and formula funding of schools. Last one, all educational institute prepare MTP and AIPs on timely necessary. So not only the above mentioned KPI process, but all the friends in each group explained earlier and mentioned about KPI in their presentation and also implementing in future, we can build up and enhance well education framework in national education system at the moment of the economical exploration. Thanks to all patient listening. Thanks to sir.
I will start with the positive comments first. We are group 5 and we observed your presentation. We saw a very clear lineup and the transition from one presenter to the other, even though only 2 were present here physically, the transition was very smooth and you all were audible. The clarity of voice was very good and the language used was commendable. Those are the positive points and it was very informative and the time taken was only 40 minutes. That is also a very good thing because you exceeded 10 minutes, but it's just 40 minutes. And what we noticed was the font size and the color of the slides. The audience could not read the slides clearly because the font was smaller and the background was white and in the white background when the font was small, we could not see the words clearly. Other than that, it was all good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Yes, I think presentations, if you look at about the presenters, I think it was a really good one, right? So, but when it comes to the content, I think opportunity was there to improve more, I think, right? So, for example, certain things actually, for example, say analysis like slot actually. The slot was covered in depth, but I think that is something I think everyone know. Right, you can just pick few things and then you can go for more important area. So that is one area. But spelling, only one spelling mistake I found, that learners one, right? So except that, I think all other were good. So I can give them 22.5. Right? Then next group actually make sure that you are trying to complete within 30 minutes, right? The remaining group, otherwise it will be extended. Then I don't know the group who is going to present tomorrow. Ask someone to contact me, then to share this Zoom link with them, right? I need that, right? So ask, there's a group, no, this group number 9. So you may know the right participant, ask them to contact me. Then another announcement, I think I asked one of your colleagues to share that Google evaluation form, right? That is for my personal right, evaluation purpose, right? So please take few minutes whenever you are free and fill that also. Right?
Thank you very much, sir. Giving the chance online for asking the. Thank you very much.
Group 10. Education is an investment. Dear sir, my dear colleagues, we, the members of Group 10, are now ready to present our strategic management plan for national education system. As you see here, we have only 5 members today. 2 will do the presentation tomorrow as they are facing EB exam. So without taking much time in introduction, let me draw your attention to the vision statement. An inspired citizen succeed in a global economy with Sri Lankan identity and humanity is our vision statement. Based on this vision statement, we have created the mission to educate all students to the highest levels of academic achievement, to enable them to reach and expand their potential, and to prepare them to become productive, responsible, ethical, creative, and compassionate members of the global community is the mission of our national education system. So based on this, any education system has values. So we have identified core values of the national education system. As you see in this slide, care and compassion, doing your best, honesty and trustworthiness, integrity, respect, responsibility and accountability, understanding, tolerance, inclusion, and nature loving. That is our core values we have presented here. And we have identified several goals. Basically, we have created 6 goals under this system. Extending of educational opportunity, quality improvement in education, teacher professionalism, productive development of management of education, technical and practical skills education, and strive for excellence. These are the main goals we have identified. So based on these, each goal, we have identified objectives as well. And I'm not going to explain one by one now because these goals and objectives are used in our strategic plan, and we are going to explain in detail in that section. So next, I'm going to present about our targets. Just like this, we have selected several targets. There are so many targets, but under that, we have prioritized some targets that we have to pay our attention on like this. So based on this vision, mission, values, goals, objectives, and targets, after this, we are going to do, we have to do an environmental scanning. So now I invite my colleague Lakmi to do the environmental scanning. Over to you, Lakmi.
As my friend Anusha said, I am going to talk about the environmental scanning of strategic management. Environment can be divided into 2 parts as macro environment and micro environment. Macro environment mainly focus on the external environment of the organization. It can be described using pestle analysis. It means political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal. Mainly political factors can be described as influences for teacher transfers, student admissions, and decision making, and also frequent change of policies. Then the economical factors are related to the schools, like unavailability of capital, difficulties in procurement process, possibility of prioritizing needs, and high expenses for traveling to rural areas. And then I would like to move social factors, like support can be obtained from the government and non-government organization,
and also cultural, ethnic, and religious diversity. When we consider the technological factors, availability of computers, printers, and laptops, then also availability of internet and network facility, existing staff members with technical knowledge and the experience, and also usage of technology. When consider the environmental factors, location of the schools, culturalism in the area, accessibility to the schools, and contacts with other organizations. Finally, in legal factors, access to the legal advisors, disciplinary actions, annual transfers, and limitations in circulars and financial regulation. When consider the next, I would like to move the microenvironment. Microenvironment mainly focus on the stakeholders of the organization. When consider the stakeholders of the school, like students, teachers, parents, past pupils, and well-wishers can be identified. Next, my friend Anusha will talk about the strategic position of the strategic management.
Yes, as Lakshmi said, we have in education system has to face many challenges with the rapidly changing world, as we all know. So knowing factors that will improve management methods and to create this competitive advantage is so important. So under this strategic position, this value chain can be used to analyze these opportunities. So according to this, as we all know, this Potter's value chain can be, it is used to describe, it has mentioned about 5 primary activities and 4 supportive activities. Even though even though the service sector has some deviations from this model, there are some little bit deviations rather than in manufacturing industry, but we would like to discuss about these primary activities and supportive activities using this model. So under primary activities, we have identified that receiving of equipment and other resources to the educational institutes, and there we have to maintain inventories and other databases related to physical and human resources. Then under operations, recruitment of academic staff. The academic staff is a really essential thing, and curriculum development processes are really essential. And assessment, especially this formative and summative assessment, should be come under this operations part. And especially admission or the enrollment of students to various streams is essential. And under outbound logistics, the delivery of resources, basically from our education system, our output is citizens who match to the workforce in the global community. So it is our focus. So producing a workforce which suits to the global demand. It has come under outbound logistics. And under marketing and sales, we have identified promoting enrollment students for different streams. That is basically according to their capabilities, we should identify their stream. We should have proper career guidance programs and counseling programs, so we can help students to find their future pathways. And under service, higher education opportunities should be provided, just like this local and foreign scholarships and internships and efficiency by exams and capacity building programs for the officers. Just like that, we can include those in this category. So the next, we have identified supportive activities. Under supportive activities, the first one we have identified under firm infrastructure, necessary infrastructure. For an instance, if we take a school, the classrooms, laboratories, libraries, they should be included. And without financial allocations, we cannot proceed our smooth functioning of our institutes. And as well as these sanitary facilities are essential. And under human resource management, skilled and dedicated administrative officers and skilled and non-academic staff. We have included these here because top to bottom level, there should be a proper link. Otherwise, it is difficult to run any educational institute. And technology development, innovative and interactive teaching methods should be there, because we are talking about 21st century education and global economy. So we need to have these things in as a supportive activities. And procurement process, as we all know, from top level to bottom level, we need this procurement process. So printing of textbooks to modules and distributing them, and purchase of necessary equipment, purchase of office furniture, like this all comes under these supportive activities. Next, I'm going to talk about resources. So there are, as we all know, there are two types of resources, threshold resources and unique resources. So under threshold resources, the qualified teachers and administrative staff, up-to-date technology and learning resources, physical facilities, and accreditation and certifications have categorized. And under unique resources, reputation and brand recognition, expertise in a specific field, strong industry partnerships, innovative programs and teaching methods are categorized, because we all know that some schools in our new educational reforms also we are focusing this to have some clusters and main school in that cluster, so the students can facilitate with expertise knowledge. For an instance, if we take technology stream, there's a separate school, science stream separate school. Just like that, we can have this expertise in specific field. So based on these things, we have to do a corporate appraisal to make our strategic plan. So now I invite my friend Ranjani to do the SWOT analysis. Over to you, Ranjani.
Okay. My colleagues consider about the organizational environment in various manner, and I am going to talk about SWOT analysis. Here we use strength and weaknesses to identify the internal environment, while opportunities and threats are used to identify the external environment. In our education system, we have identified some strengths. As all of us know, there are well-established education system. There are a large number of schools and universities. Also, there are experienced, talented, and dedicated staff, officers, and teachers to deliver this quality education. Also, we have identified another strength, that is a strong commitment to free education to all. For that, government provide free textbooks, free uniforms, sometimes shoes and meals. Also, government initiatives so many programs like technology stream for A-level, and these days they are introducing STEAM education. Also, we have updated database. That is another strength. On the other hand, we have identified some weaknesses. Those are, we know we have various types of schools. 1AB, 1C, type 2, type 3. And sometimes we considered provincial schools and national schools. Like that, we have various types of schools. Also, the lower attention on special non-formal education and prevent education. There are some programs, but it is not enough. Unequal distribution of physical resources. All of us know that there are some schools with various facilities, but in some schools, the facilities are very few. Lack of attention on health condition of student is another weakness. In current situation, that is a big problem in some areas. Our curriculum, that is outdated and inadequate facilities for technology We know our curriculum is not provide requirement of the job market. Also, our assessment and evaluation process is not matching with current situation. Lack of human resources. All of us know there are for some subjects, there are lack of teachers like science, maths, English, etc. Inadequate teacher training and professional development opportunities is another weaknesses that we have identified. High dropout rates that may be depending on the area. Some area, the girls dropout rate is higher than boys. In some areas, dropout rates of boys are higher than girls. Opportunities and threats are used to evaluate the external environment. We have identified opportunities in our education system. There are vocational training centers, universities and other higher education centers. We can use, students can use those opportunities to improve their future careers. And also, there are international vocational training opportunities. If students are talented, they can gain those opportunities. Also, there are some companies and organizations to they willing to donate some funds, also some equipments. That is another opportunity in our education system. Other than those, we have identified some threats in our education system. One is earlier our group member and other group members also mentioned that political instability in the country. Another threat is economic crisis. Due to that, it is a problem to provide some facilities for the education system. Time to time, there are some union action. It is another threat in our education system. Natural disasters like pandemic, like COVID-19 situation, and other natural disasters like flooding, landslides, etc. Those are kind of threats. Brain drain. This is a big problem in current situation in our education system. The SWOT analysis is very important to formulate criteria, strategies. We use strengths and opportunities. We use strengths and opportunities to develop, formulate criteria. Also, we formulate strategies to overcome weaknesses and threats in our education system. Next, my colleague Nishani will talk about strategies. Over to you, Nishani.
As my colleague Ranjani explained, now we already discussed the issues in our education system and also the background, what we need for formulation of strategies. We basically focus on generic competitive strategies in order to formulate our own strategies. Especially we focus cost-focused strategy because in present context, our education system is lack of many funds, as well as we use some blue ocean strategies also in formulating our strategies, because we have a competition with the international level. We don't think our tuition sector or local international schools as our competitors. This is a national education system we are going to formulate. So we focus blue ocean strategy as we need our own ways to formulate our strategies. And then we link our strategies with the cultural factors. Next. After formulating strategies, we have to evaluate whether these strategies are applicable in our context. Therefore, we check suitability by considering factors like risks, advantages, and so on, as well as we check the accessibility. Our strategy should be accepted by our shareholders. As shareholders, we considered NIE as well as National Education Commission, Publication Department, and Examination Department. And also our customers, they should accept our strategies and our plan. As customers, basically the students, their parents, and the whole school community in our country. And as management, ministry, department level, as well as divisional level and zonal level be considered. And the staff, mainly the teachers, our academic staff and non-academic staff, they should accept our strategies. Then those strategies should be feasible. Otherwise, we are not capable of formulating and implementing those strategies. We check with our money, funds, as well as time factor. Then these are basic things where we are. Actually, in our first goal, Anusha explained, we are going to increase equitable access. We already have access. Our kids, each and every kid have access to a school for the primary education. Even in 2005, we reached that access level up to 98. This is a very high level. Actually, we are providing education, but what missing is equitable access. We have to convert our system to providing equitable access. Even in 2018, almost all the primary students were enrolled to secondary education. Next, we'll see where the gap is. This shows international level gross enrollment ratio in tertiary education. We are giving primary education as well the secondary education, but we are missing in putting these students into the global or our job market. We are lacking. South Asia is far below, and Northern America is very high. It's about 80%, and we are around 20%. Similarly, as a South Asian country, we are at the level of 20%, as shown in next slide. There's a huge gap. We have to at least, before reaching the highest level, we have to at least go to the middle level, at least to the 50 level. We are providing, in our context, our O-level students pass rate is about 75%. We are giving education up to 75% students are pass in O-level exams. But in A-level exams, even we are producing students who are capable of entering into the universities. It is around 63% in our 2021 data, but we are lack of sending them to tertiary education. Most of these students, actually our students are facing lots of troubles due to that. They got minor jobs because of lack of education. We have to fill that gap and have to formulate our strategies to address those things. Then let's move to our strategic plan. There are 6 goals, as Anusha mentioned. In first goal, we expect to give enrollment for all students. Actually, equitable enrollment. Under this strategy, we hope to formulate all the schools are, there is a huge 4 types in present context. We want to rearrange these 4 school types into 3 categories. It's very simple: primary education, secondary junior, and senior secondary. Under these three categories, we can enroll all our students. And also by improving this strategy, we can eliminate the existing category. In present, within one school, 3 categories are incorporated. As a strategy, will this acceptable, feasible, and suitable? Obviously, this is suitable because everyone get equitable access if this can be implemented. Then we have to check whether this will be acceptable. I think most of the population will accept this, except the highest top level, economically stable, 10 to 20% people. Others will definitely accept it. And when we consider the sustainable development goals, if we are developing a society, we have to think about even minor and disability groups. Without considering them, no one can attain development. Therefore, we have to address these minor groups. For that, we have to give access through special education, non-formal education, and inclusive education. That's another strategy, what we included here. And as in this manner, we have to consider other factors as well. Actually, this whole plan contains 6 goals and 12 objectives and 35 strategies. We don't hope to explain one by one. KPIs are also displayed in this simplified strategic plan, and KPIs will be discussed by colleague Srimali later on. And in the second goal, we especially highlight we need to address improve quality of the education. As my colleagues already explained, several groups talked about STEAM education. It's obvious because the world is traveling. We can isolate, we cannot stop others. 2 changes are obvious, global changes always, as well as the human evolution. It is obvious. We all know in our education system, in schools, there are different generations are studying, and we are not matched with their level. So we need smart teachers. Therefore, we have to go with this STEAM education, as already explained. And we have to incorporate bilingual education. That's another strategy, because we are not using an international language. We have to address with the bilingual education also. And obviously, we must have a strategy of providing necessary materials for that students' capacity. And as well as we have to broaden our processes of providing materials and infrastructure. And in addition to that, we have to, while we are changing our curriculum reforms to all these things, we have to change our evaluation system. Without changing the evaluation system, that curriculum changes will not be displayed. So we need a drastic shift in evaluation. We use 2 strategies, new school-based evaluation system, and as well as the grade 5 cutoff marks. This is a critical issue in our society. We have to change that district-based to school-based until we develop all our infrastructures, similarly delivering facilities to our normal schools. Then we'll move to our next goal, third goal. Under the third goal, we talk about teacher professionalism. Actually, to achieve 1 and 2 goals, we need professional teachers. Without professional teachers, that's impossible. Teachers who are smart in teaching, we formulate 3 strategies: skill-based teacher recruitment and professional trainings. This should be continued, and performance-based increment system. We suggest using these 3 strategies, we will able to keep recruiting and continuing with smart teachers. In present, about 60% of the teachers are recruited as trained teachers, and rest of the 40% are recruited through a selection test, but that is just from mere graduates. Those are the most teachers who are not capable of working with our education system. They are very traditional and very resistant to change. Therefore, we have to change the selection procedure. I think my colleague Srimali will explain further. Next, our goal 4, that is technical and practical skills. This leads to current job market. Most of the groups talk about brain drain. Actually, as in the data I showed, we are in the bottom level of tertiary education. We have to immediately match with the current aspects of the jobs. Therefore, we should have a proper link with A-level, O-level students and tertiary institutes, both in public and private sector. Most of the students are not identifying their talents and where they should go. We have to fill that gap. There are some career guidance programs present our school system, but very poor in implementing. Therefore, we set those strategies to overcome that issue. By making a young workforce, we can address other social issues too. Most of the drug issues, abuse, and all these things are correlated with the things which are what happened to that students. 70% of students are passing all levels, but they're going just to the society. They are just doing what are not, society is not expecting. To prevent those things, that is useful. As well as we have to promote young entrepreneurship. It is very important. As a subject, without the curriculum reforms, we can add this to our curriculum and we can reduce unemployment rates drastically through improving this young entrepreneurship, because we all know everyone cannot be provided with jobs, but we need job providers. In next goal, we address a productive management system. This is essential. To implement those goals, we must first strengthen our schools. Therefore, we apply a strategy of decentralizing authority to school level. Then we need to other levels, zonal level, divisional level, department level, and provincial level. We have to simplify our own processes. We are actually using outdated processes. In our next generation, we'll obviously drop these things. They are not ready to go with that outdated things. That is an obvious thing. We have to simplify all our existing processes, and we have to convert into paper-based to online paperless world. As well as we have to keep updating each and every system. Those are the 4 strategies under goal 5, objective of improving productivity. As last goal, we suggest strive for excellence. Therefore, this is very important. Still, as a country, we do not have an education policy. We need to establish an education policy first. As aid, we can use the framework, education framework, what is existing in our system. And we have to implement our second strategy is none other than the implementation of 1 to 5 goals, and each strategy is under these goals. And we have to keep continuous monitoring and take immediate actions. In present situation, we are not taking actions immediately. Sometimes issue rise a year ago, the action has not yet been taken. So that should be prevented. And when an issue arises, we should address it very immediately. And most important thing is we have to research. We have to research as well as we have to communicate with the world with the research findings. There is this is a very minor platform in present context. We have to strengthen this research and publication sector as well. Through these things, we can achieve our target of strive for excellence. Next, our formulating strategies are as already described, but evaluating those things are the most important part. My colleague Srimali will continue with that.
Most important part in strategic implementation, most important part in planning process is strategic implementation. So we need to implement strategies with the collaboration with national and provincial level agencies. This diagram shows, this is a diagram of Ministry of Education. The structure of the Ministry of Education. It is consisting of 3 levels: national level, provincial level, and school level. So all these strategies should be implemented with the collaborative effort with all three levels. Next, so to implement these strategies, we need to have basic requirements to develop. We need to develop capacity of all the people involved in this strategic implementation process, and need to define roles and responsibilities for each and every entity in the organizational structure in the Ministry of Education. And also we need to restructure the institutions to achieve the implementation process, and also need to monitor and evaluate the implementing process based on these strategies. And finally, we need to develop partnership with other organizations and non-government organizations, and also with the stakeholders. Next. So this is the planning process of implementation. As we all know, the Ministry of Education, the secretary is the implementation manager. He needs to appoint board of directors from each and every institution comes under the organizational structure of the ministry, and need to have for each and every strategy, we need to have time frame, and quality is important. We need to check the quality of all the strategies. So we need to have KPIs. In next slides, I will explain the KPIs as well. And also each and every strategy, each and every activity in the implementation process need to need to audit all these activities. When it comes to the resources, in the implementation process, there are 2 types of resources: human resources and physical resources. As my earlier groups mentioned, human resources are teachers, ISAs, and principals, then resource persons, then content developers. All are resources for our implementation process. And physical resources we can consider as the buildings and other equipments, laboratories, and other infrastructures, and so on. When considering about funding methodology, there are 3 types of funding mechanisms. We can use consolidated fundings, then development partners assistance like World Bank, ADB, then JICA, and other global organizations. And also we can have donor consortiums. When considering about the contingency, when implementing strategies, there may be some unavoidable circumstances. So need to address all those things. So for that, we need to have another allocations for those things. Then the final thing is communication. It is very important to communicate. We need to identify the key persons, whom we can target to transfer our strategies to the lower level of the implementation process. Can you move the next slide? So resources are, I already told you. When it comes to the leadership, as this is a transformation process, we need to have transformation leadership, it is obvious. But other than that, when talking about the goal 1, it is increasing equitable access of education by specifying school categorization. That is, in our proposed system, my colleague said, we are going to implement new system by categorizing 3 types of categories: 1 to 5 as primary and lower secondary and upper secondary. For this transformation process, it is not easy. Though we are playing the transformation leadership role, most of the urban schools, popular schools, they may not like to transform. So for that instance, we have to sometimes use the Ministry of Education has to force them to transform, so that we have to, in this case, we have to use authoritarian leadership as well. So likewise, in all goals, we are, as shown in here, we are practicing, other than transformation leadership, we are practicing other leadership styles as well. Next slide. Next. So when implementing the new system, most of the time, some may not like to change. They are resistant to change. So we need to manage the change as well. So as a leader, Ministry of Education has to get the leadership, and they have to appoint change managers based on the qualifications, and should be appointed a top senior person, and he should appoint a change agent for each and every entity in the organization structure, so that they can implement the change. As shown in here, all changes are basically from 3 stages: unfreeze, change, and freeze. So when considering about the example I already taken, people are in the existing system, schools are basically already in some categories, but we are proposing to have new 3 categories. So changes that categorizing according to the new criteria, that is 1 to 5 and 6 to 11 and A-level stream. So by categorizing these categories, we can provide equal facilities for all those schools. And once we do the implementation of the change, we have to freeze the change. Otherwise, the people will say that previous system is better than that. So they are trying to go back. So because of that, we have to freeze the existing system and stabilize it. Next slide. So this is the final stage, monitoring, performance monitoring. Once we implement the system, we need to monitor the performance. I will take goal 3 as the example, that is teacher professionalism. The objective is to ensure the smart teaching. The strategy is introducing of skill-based teaching recruitment process. As we all know, the recruitment process in Sri Lanka, it is not checking the teacher's capabilities. It's just an aptitude test and IQ test. For that, we need to have activities to change the process. We already defined 4 activities: define criteria for selection test, conducting selection test, and conduct interviews and recruit. For these activities, we define critical success factors for limited time constraint. I am going to explain only one. When considering about the defining criteria for selection test, the critical success factor is distribution of questions based on each criteria. And under this critical success factors, there are 5 critical success factors. For each and every critical success factor, we need to have KPIs as well. For the first one, our KPI is percentage of questions under each criteria. So likewise, we are having 6 KPIs. From these 6 KPIs, we can evaluate the strategy, and we can find out whether using these KPIs, whether the strategies are achieving the objectives. So next, my colleague, Ranjini, will continue. Over to you.
For monitoring process, other than KPI, balance scorecard is used. This is introduced by Kaplan and Norton in 1992. They said that only financial performance is good, not good enough to talk about the total organization. So they have introduced this balance scorecard. Here they considered about 4 areas: financial perspectives, customer perspectives, operational perspectives, learning and innovative perspectives. Financial perspectives is used to measure the financial achievement, and in education system, we provide some grants and we have to give the progress report month. Customer perspective is used to measure customer satisfaction. That is in our education system, there we can measure that using rate of access, dropout rate, likewise. Operational perspective is used to measure the efficiency of carrying out internal activities that can be measured using absenteeism of staff members, performance of students as well as teachers, likewise. In learning and innovative perspectives is used to measure the continuation of improvement and value creation. That is can be measured in our education system. This can be measured using number of new streams introduced, number of best practices, likewise. Like that, we have formulated the strategic plan using based on our vision, mission, goals, targets, etc. By considering and evaluating the environment. By that, we are going to conclude our presentation. Thank you all for your patient listening. Thank you.
I think group number 2, no? Right, is going to evaluate.
So we have very positive comments about the presentation of our group 10. The slides are very clear and intelligible, that means readable, with and very attractive with the illustrations and charts. So we highly appreciate that. And colors are matching in the slides. Content is very comprehensive, and they had followed the presentation's guidelines given and demonstrated very good presentation skills. They maintain a smooth flow of facts as well as good collaboration among the members. We are very positive about the overall performance of the group, and we have only 2 negative comments. One is that time management had taken 45 minutes. And in one of the slides, we saw that due to the color combination, the words were not visible. And balance scorecard, I think the scorecard, the words were together. So it's better if you had it, 2 separate words. That's all. Overall presentations, we highly appreciate. We are very happy about it. Thank you.
Right. I think especially this, the KPI part, no, it was really good. Right. So they have done some effort on that. So then I think spelling mistake not there actually. I didn't find any single mistake except one, this grammatical error. So this government initiatives, many programs like that. There was some, right, not nicely matched grammatically. Right. Except that I didn't find any major errors. So therefore, I think we can give 22.5 for them also. Now, please try to expedite your presentation, I think. Right. The last group will struggle otherwise. Right?
Dear sir and my dear colleagues, Group 5 is here to present our strategic management plan for the national education system of Sri Lanka. And we have 8 members here with us today. Next. Next slide, please. We have the vision here with us, and we have taken all the learners, keeping in mind the concept of education for all as a learning community, from the early childhood education through the general education to the higher education, and also including the tertiary education with the vocational education, preparing children or students for the world of work. So we have in our mind our vision as developing highly competent, practical, academically excellent, well-informed, collective decision-making, healthy individuals of all ages in a learning community. The word learning community refers to all the learners, regardless of their age, from the early childhood to the tertiary education. Next slide, please, Kusalika. To achieve that vision, we have this mission. We expect to provide a high quality, modernized academics and education to our learning community, enabling them to give their support or contribution to the economy of the country by supporting the individuals of all ages to become smart in decision making based on information and help achieving outstanding competencies. That is also while experiencing high standards of living conditions, offered with excellent health facilities. So that is a key area in our strategic plan. Next slide, Kusalika. Yes, we have paid attention to the values that we are going to develop through our strategic plan. Excellence in work, collaboration in learning and working together, and respecting each other, respecting the country, respecting the values, the leadership qualities, compassion, being empathetic towards each other, equity in education, equity in the society in every aspect, and appreciation. That is something that we have to inculcate in our children. Appreciate what we have, appreciate everybody, what they do. And being accountable, that is something that we are lacking in our society, being accountable, accountability. And finally, the mindfulness. Now over to you, Chamari, to continue the presentation.
Thank you, Anupa. Okay, just now you witnessed the vision, mission, and values of the national education system we have prepared. And this vision and mission is based on a set of goals, which is based on a set of goals, economic and social goals we have clearly gone through, and we'll move on to the our goals and objectives. We have prepared 10 goals. You can see in our screen the goals we have prepared. The organizational, organizations are yes. Previous slide. The first goal is develop critical thinking skills, foster creativity and innovation, build communication skills, promote teamwork and collaboration, develop strong team digital literacy skills. 6, foster a sense of social responsibility, develop financial literacy by making informed decisions about money, promote physical and mental health, develop well-rounded individuals who have the skills, knowledge, and values needed to succeed in all areas of life, foster a learning community. And these goals help us to see whether we are on the right track, because we can measure the success of our achieving the vision and mission by clearly monitoring these goals and the objectives. So based on the objective goals, we have prepared the objectives for the national education system. These are the objectives we have prepared. First one, teach students how to analyze and evaluate information. The second one is provide opportunities for hands-on learning, experimentation, and exploration. Third one, teach students effective communication techniques such as active listening, clear speaking, and concise writing. The fourth one is encourage students to work in groups and to develop effective teamwork and collaboration skills. Next one is demonstrate how to use technology effectively and safely. The sixth one is clarify social issues and encourage students to get involved in their communities. The next objective is teach students how to manage their finances effectively, including budgeting, savings, and investing, etc. Provide opportunities for physical activity and promote healthy eating habits are another objective we have in our strategic plan. And the last one is building up a learning community and help the members of the learning community to achieve their full potential. We need students with full potential to run the country. So these are objectives and goals in our strategic plan. Now over to you, Malka, to do the environmental scanning.
Thank you, Chamari. Before scanning environment, we have to identify internal environment of national education system. These are the key areas of internal environment. First one is early childhood education is given by preschools, then primary education from primary schools, secondary education from secondary schools, and higher education is given by universities. In our strategies, we are going to offer teacher education also from the universities. After the secondary education, the tertiary education is given by vocational training centers, technical colleges. Then it's must to consider the special needs children also. We propose special education centers all over the country. Then we focused on distant learning education. There are distant learning education hub in each zone. Then our next aim is lifelong education. Under the that lifelong education, there are many programs. Non-formal education also included lifelong education. Then not only that, we can identify the establishment also related to Ministry of Education. First one is Department of Examination, then Department of Educational Publications, and National Institute of Education, then National Education Commission, then University Grants Commission, Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission. Two more details on environmental scanning. I invite to Amila.
That's macro environment. Macro environment can be defined as the distance environment to the educational system. Factors that influence on macro environment can be stated as universal organizations like World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and other ministries, especially Sports Ministry and Health Ministry. These ministries collaborate with education system to ensure physical, human, and emotional well-being of the society by conducting school health programs also, and other organizations as non-government organization, other institutes, AAT, CIM, like that, and private universities, private tutors, and other factories and industries can be named as factors that affect on macro environment. Let's pestle analysis for the macro environment. Pestle analysis is standard analysis for the external environment, people, political influence, political decisions, political stability, union actions, policies, and policies of the present government can state as political factors. In Sri Lanka, no stable educational policy. For educational policies vary with the political policies. For economic also another restricted factor on education. Social and middle students of social and middle classes lost their equal access to the education with the poverty, as inflation, price of good, transport cost also influence on economic factor. Next, social and cultural. As a multicultural country, Sri Lanka as a multicultural country, there's a major effect on education system. Even today also, there are separate schools for separate religions and ethnic groups. Then next, technological. Online education is most prominent mode of distance education today. Due to the COVID pandemic situation, students of rural and isolated areas lost their equal access to the education with the absence of smart devices and lack of signals and inability of teachers to adapt to the new situation. EPO environment, as tropical country, there are different diversities in Sri Lanka as geographical barriers and climatic barriers, seashore environment, and extreme cold environment. Students of extreme cold environment get disadvantages effects of environment also. The legal actions in Sri Lankan scenario,
there are many legal actions has taken to ensure educational right of students, like Compulsory Education Act and Inclusive Education, and 13th 2017 circular to ensure the educated security inside school premises also. That's next, Upendra.
Now let's move on to the strategic position. When we are implementing strategy, before we are implementing strategy, we have to first we have to clearly identify the activities based on the values. Here are the value chain activities. First, we have to focus on the infrastructure facilities before implementing strategies. Then we have to think about and also we have to identify the resources, especially human resources. When we are making a strategic plan, especially we have to identify the human resources, then we have to identify the physical resources. And also it's very, very important to identify the financial resources when we are implementing a strategic plan. Then we have to recognize student enrollment, especially in school admissions, and also the dropout rates and the students' absenteeism, and student enrollment in special needy students. And when we talk about the curriculum development, we have to focus on curriculum development when we are consider about the education development plan. First, I would like to explain about the reforms. We have to mainly focus about the reforms, especially the 21st century education skills and inquiry-based learning, problem-based learning, project-based learning, and home-based learning activities, and also the STEAM education, science stream, technological stream, engineering stream, arts, aesthetics and social sciences, and mathematics streams, and also the technical and vocational education. And also we have to connect the curriculum with the national development, and also we have to think about the curriculum connected to the world of work. Then we can focus on to the teacher education, especially school-based professional teacher development programs. We have to empower teaching learning process within our schools and within our institutions. Therefore, we have to think about a school-based professional teacher development programs. And also we have to focus on assessment and evaluation process, and also the student welfare programs such as health promoting programs and disaster management programs. In schools, there are so many health promoting programs, and there are disaster management teams, committees they are having in the schools. And also based on student welfare programs, we can find counseling and career guidance programs too. And also we can we can identify continuous improvement based on internal and external evaluation processes, especially in schools. We are having quality circles, and also we are having peer coaching and mentoring processes within schools. Then we will talk about the resources and competencies. Based on resources, there are threshold resources and unique resources. Threshold resources gives minimum requirements threshold resources having minimum requirements, and unique resources gives competitive advantage for an organization. Here we talk about only the physical resources. When a school is having a library, it is a threshold resource. When some schools are having e-libraries, it is a unique resource. And also some schools are having sick rooms, but some other schools are having medical centers with doctors. Then it gives for that school competitive advantage. Then when we talk about the competencies, there are two categories: threshold competencies and core competencies. As a principal, always as a principal, the principal is doing with routine works. It is a threshold competency. All the administrative officers can do their routine works without skills, but when we can do variety of activities in innovative way and creative way, it gives the administrators core competencies. Then before implementing strategies, we find as that activities as value chain and the resources and competencies. We have to identify the resources and competencies before implementing our strategic plan. Then I will invite Nadika to explain cooperative appraisal.
Thank you, Pendra. I'm willing to talk about SWOT analysis. Let's move on strength. Actually, our education system has a long history regarding educating, and also it has an excellent workforce. It has included teachers, administrators, and supporting staff, something like that. A significant amount of funding has been allocated by government. It is very, very important facts. And also, our education system has implemented some programs regarding concept of education for all. Next, I'm willing to, next slide, Anupa. I'm willing to talk about weaknesses. Our education system is still facing some challenges regarding outdated curricula, and also unequal access to education, lack of resources, something like that. Our education system is still unable to integrate education with new technology, and also corruption can be seen in our education system. For an example, allocations, transfer, something like that. And also there is a lack of attention regarding vocational and technical education. Next slide. Let's move on opportunities. Sri Lankan government has committed to increase funding for education. Our education system is able to work with the international organization, and also with existing society. Sri Lanka needs a skillful person. So our education system needs a skillful person. So education system has good opportunity regarding that, and also usage of technology. Actually, our education system is adopt new teaching methods due to usage of technology for education. Next, our next traits. I would like to tell our education system is facing so many challenges regarding private school. And also due to high competition in private school, our student may away from government schools, and also political instability. It is very, very bad facts. And also we have to, our complementation educational reforms is difficult due to instability, political instability, and also economic downturns. So amount of funding has to be reduced due to economic downturns. Last, I'm willing to talk about COVID pandemic. So COVID pandemic has disrupted our education. Thank you. Next, I invite. Sorry.
So thank you. So now we are in the very important part in our strategic plan, that is formulating strategies. I think this is very important because we have to formulate the suitable strategies according to our vision, mission, objectives, and goals. Now you can see all these our strategies are closely directed to our mission, vision, and goals, right? Now for our convenience, we identify 6 areas to formulate strategies. So the first one is student enrollment, and the second one, quality education, good governance, and service delivery, that is one. Third one, and policy planning and research, that is fourth one. Career guidance, entrepreneurship, and direction to the job market, that is the fifth one. And as a last one, we identify partnership in education. So let's see some of the strategies we take under, we are going to implement under these areas. So the first area is student enrollment. Under student enrollment, we can do these things, these strategies. So now one of the aim is education is that we have to provide equal education. So there are some students are deprived. So there we have to see their welfare. So therefore we provide welfare needs, and then we help, we also enroll special needs children, estate children, orphans, and gypsy, and those children, single parent children, to school. And then we have to provide basic needs like water and sanitation, those things, and then scholarships for needy and gifted children. That is also one of the strategy we do under student enrollment. And the second area we identify is quality education. There also we do various strategies to give them quality education. So here we have many factors, develop critical thinking skills. Now these strategies are closely related to our mission and vision. You can see when you remember our vision, these strategies are closely related to that mission and vision. Then we have, next slide, please. You can see now here also there are some other strategies related to quality education. Now this is one thing is provide opportunities for students to work together in groups and develop the skills related to collaborate effectively. Now that is in our vision also, action related to this one. And there are some other strategies also related to quality education in next slide. Next slide, please. Here also, now we are going to have education system closely linked to the economy. That is now so far it was not happened. Now our education system and economy, now education is something we invest. So we have to gain that money back. So here we want to teach students about budgeting, saving, investing, and other financial skills. We are going to give them those skills as a strategy. Right? And we want to reduce various types of schools also. Right, next one. Now that is on good governance. Under good governance and service delivery, under that we are going to give professional training to principals, provide facilities, reduce teacher deficiency, that is also there in rural areas. And we want to eliminate school types. That is one of the main weakness in Sri Lanka. There are many types of school. So we are going to eliminate national schools. There are Muslim schools, Tamil schools, Sinhala schools, Buddhist schools, like many types of schools. So under this strategy, we are going to have primary and secondary schools only. Right. Now that is one of the good governance under that strategies. Now the fourth one under the large area is policy planning and research. Here we focus on doing research, systematic and rigorous research in systematic and rigorous manner. Now we see we use lot of money for research, but most of the researchers are in vain. There's no big use by those researchers. They are for the sake of doing research, not for the sake of real education needs, to find education needs. Right. Next one, career guidance, entrepreneurship, and direction to job market. Now in our vision also, there's a close relationship with education and economy. So for that, we have to now in our universities also, we hope to, our strategy is that universities also related to not only academics, but the vocational things also. Then teacher education is also given to universities. Next slide. And our last thing is partnership in education. So we identify purpose of partnership. Now in our university, our education, national education system has partnerships with other universities, other countries, other establishments. We have partnerships for the betterment of our students. Right. Right. Next thing is implementing strategies. Now we find out the strategies. Now we are going to implement the strategies. For that, I invite Nadi.
So Lexley, regarding implementing strategies. So when we want to implement the strategies, exactly we want the resources and leaderships. So when we comes to the resources, first one is a financial resource. So the money is a based one. Yes, the money is a based one. So we are expenses for the monies, especially for accommodation costs, labor costs, then after the fuel costs, likewise. Next one, human resources. Human resources are important for especially the administrative aspects. And also conduct the pilot projects and then awareness projects, likewise. Next, equipments, vehicles and other infrastructure facilities, and also the computers can be allocated as the physical resources. So the time is another unique resource. We can be allocated the whole implementing process. So next part, the leaderships, we can allocate the transformational leaderships and situational leadership, especially on this implementing strategy plan. So next, next part is change management. So firstly, we should identify what is the change. Then after the change management, as and the as and the transformational leader. So next one, anyhow, we should identify 3 application parts regarding the stage models about the change management. Those are the 3 components: unfreeze and change, or movements and refreeze. So inside the unfreeze, we should identify what are the necessities of needs we have to change. For examples, we can, for example, actually, we can get so many instructions, so many details and informations from teachers, parents, students, likewise, through those aspects. So next one, this is a special one, motivate and inspiration. So anyhow, after the identification, we should motivate and inspire by persuading the needs for a changeable aspect. So next one is change. Implementing the change is a second one. So within the implementing the stage, we should want to provide the sufficient supports. Then after the available resources, give the relevant guidance and also the teacher training, the curriculum reforms. Likewise, the last one is the rephrase. That is also the very important one because the reason, the make sure that is the change has already become a permanent one. So becoming the permanent one as a change, we should we should avoid the traditional allocations and indicators on these slides. Exactly, we want to enhance the new performance and indicators. Likewise, next one to invite Danupa.
Okay, now we have come to the last part of our presentation. So we are moving on to the balance scorecard. What do we do by checking the balance scorecard? What is a balance score? When it comes to a business institution, an organization, they think about the profits, investment and the profits. And what is our investment? In which do we invest? We invest in our students, in our learners. So when it comes to the education system, the balance scorecard has to take into account 4 main areas. The first one is the financial performance. How have we utilized the allocations we have received at the beginning of the year? To the betterment of the students, our learners, how have we provided the infrastructure and how have we utilized the money to provide quality education? Increasing the performances of money funding programs, profitable purchasing by procurement. So procurement process is very important when it comes to providing the physical resources. Then we go to the stakeholders. The customers in the business organizations become the stakeholders in education. So stakeholder satisfaction, who are the stakeholders? The learners, the parents, the teachers, the whole learning community at large. Less complaints, justifiable teacher transfers. We discussed that earlier as well. We have to be justifiable, very fair in teacher transfers. Fair student enrollment, that was also discussed under the student enrollment. We have to have provisions to enroll students with disabilities, students from different communities, students from single parent families, students with different needs. So fair student enrollment is to be considered, and awarding and appreciation of the students, of their performances, of the teachers, their work and their performances as well. So operational and internal efficiency. It is about the school dropouts, about the failures at the national level examination, teacher deficiency, how to recruit teachers and how to train them, excess teachers and resources. So it is about the teacher deployment. We have excess teachers in some zones and we have deficiencies in some zones. So we have to be fair in the teacher transfers to eradicate, to eliminate these deficiencies. So learning and innovations, use of new techniques or technologies, research and best practices. So research aspect in education has to be motivated, encouraged and improved. And remedial activities based on results analysis. It has to, it is not to be expected to be done by the Department of Examinations only. At the provincial level, zonal level, and school level, we have to do results analysis and implement remedial process. So key performance indicators in education, the KPIs. First one is financial performance, allocated money, used money. So number of programs that we have allocated money and how far they have been successful, and the financial progress. We get the financial progress and the physical progress according to the annual implementation plan. But we have to calculate it in a better way. Have we achieved the targets and goals, and have we achieved our visions and missions? Stakeholder satisfaction, of course, number of complaints, number of rejected transfers. How many come to the Ministry of Education on Monday with their complaints and their requests? That is something that we have to consider. Operational and internal efficiency, about the dropouts, about the absenteeism, number of failures and results improvement at the examinations. And finally, we have learning and innovations. The number of training programs, school-based training programs, distance learning training programs, and the continuous professional development programs for the teachers and the educators and the SLTES and SLES officers. And finally, the number of projects that we have implemented throughout. This is the end of our presentation. We had our vision. To have that vision, we had a mission, goals, and values. So thank you for listening to us patiently. Thank you so much.
Yes, we are going to give the comments. Actually, sir, giving comments for friends is somewhat difficult other than conducting a presentation. We have identified 5 main positive things in your presentation. First one is clarity of slides, and the colors were well matched, and the content is adequate, and also language used is proper with good accent, and also you have presented naturally and way, and the follow-up, you all have follow up the presentation guidelines too, and you have focused on areas whereby others have not or less focused. For an example, children with special needs, and also good governance principles likewise. And it seems the implementation of this strategic plan will be it will be possible because you have identified the things in the grassroots level. Those are the positive things, and same as others, the time is 42 minutes we have got, and I suppose transitions of slides, if you could able to use pointer, it will be good. And that's all. Thank you.
Right. So I think the number one good thing I have seen was actually this the color matching. This yellow, no? Yellow is the color of light, no? We say like that. So they have used that one. They have maximized the opportunity by using one of the best colors you can use. Then except that actually all the presenters were really good. That is one of the good things I have found. The starting and so they use that one as an advantage, I think. So then except 3 errors, the spelling errors, for example, continuous improvement should be continuous improvement. Then environmental, I saw that another issue, I saw that error. The balance scorecard also, D should be there, right? Those are the 3 errors I have found. Except those 3, I think so balance was good. So I can give them 22.5, right? Right. Then I think final group can prepare.
Good evening, everybody. Our group is group number 1. There are 9 members. Our presentation is based on developing a strategic plan for our national education system. First of all, I would like to introduce the content of our presentation, the purpose of the presentation, target audience, vision, mission, goals, and objectives, as well as the SWOT analysis, strategic position, national education system, formulating and evaluation, as well as implementation of the main plan and monitoring are the content of our presentation. Actually, we all know that self-directed learner is the aim of the education system. So I think the purpose of our presentation is also to deliver a self-directed learner. So here, how we do that is given there. We develop a strategic plan to provide efficient, equitable, and optimal services to the clients of the education system of Sri Lanka. And by that, we create talented, creative, and intelligent citizens for the country. So our target audience is given there. all stakeholders related to the sustainable economic development in the country. Here we have included our vision as to be successful in the 21st century. But here I have to mention one thing, because everyone speaks about the human capital. Normally, experts say that 3R, they speak about 3R. That means, and 3L also, 3S also. 3R means reading, writing, and arithmetic skills. We have to develop the students with those skills. Next one is 3L, that means learning skills, literary skills, and life skills. We have to develop those skills in our students also. Not only that, another thing is that everyone speaks about two C's, that means citizenship and character development. So I think through our this presentation, we hope to achieve those goals. The mission is given there as a citizen who can move forward optimistically with the changing world. There we have included the knowledge, attitudes, and skills of the students, and they should be sensitive to the environment, as well as they should live happily. So next, speak about our goals. Here we have included 5 goals. We all know that the national objectives of the country, to achieve those things, we have to provide a quality education. Here everyone speaks about, when we consider about the second goal, everyone speaks about the early childhood education and the lifelong education. Here, by analyzing and formulating sector policy, we can implement, we can create a cooperation between early childhood and lifelong education. Next goal is formulating national policy framework and policy guidelines. Up to now also we have experienced a lot of national policy frameworks as well as policy guidelines. Our next goal is taking necessary action to provide human and physical resources for the schools. We all experience that there are no enough physical and human resources. There are lack of teachers as well as a lot of really no buildings like that. We experience that thing. So our goal is to achieve that also. Next thing is maintaining quality standards in educational institutes. Next, I would like to speak about our objectives. Here there are 7 objectives. Everyone speaks about equal and free education for all, but it is not realized yet. So we are trying for that. Still, these days also we are in our school system guaranteed 13-year education is there, but we hope to promote that because there are a lot of that means weak points there. Trilingual national schools is our next objective. We all know that today there are some trilingual schools. That means there are some suggestions for that. Our objective is to implement that. Next one is creating attractive teaching learning process, because teachers are lack of that means we see a teacher based education system. Our next objective is students with social emotional skills, because most of the students they are knowledge based, they don't have those skills, so we hope to achieve that also. Finally, we promote national identity, ethics, and cultural values. So next chance to my colleague Callum.
So I am going to describe about the organizational environment. It is very important to know environment of the institute to reach the goal, their mission and vision, identify. Environment can divide it into 2 parts. It is external and internal environment. Using the pestle analysis, we can identify it is called macro environment. We can identify external environment in the organization. So first one, political factors. In a current situation, the most of government is going to privatize the school and universities and Minister of Education and National Institute of Education has planned to change the curriculum and evaluation system, but influencing the political, it had stopped now. Other things, the educational policy changes by posing the political influence, because we have introduced some 13 years education for all and other change in teacher recruitment policies. I think now there is not enough staff for the, especially for the maths and science subject. We have to change the recruiting the teachers. Otherwise, we have to face many troubles with our system. So next one is economic factors. Now we can see there is no enough food, sufficient foods for children, sufficient enough, there is no sufficient trousers and other things, educational equipment, and they are facing many troubles. And loan, the government is going to try to get the loan for the higher education student. Then less payment for workers. The most of government services are facing in trouble these days. There is no enough salary for them to live. They are facing in troubles in the now. Next one, social factors. Increasing of youth population in our country, day by day increase the youth population. They are facing in troubles. There is no enough facilities in our universities, in our higher institute to them getting their knowledge and degrees. Most of people live in the country, migration for higher education and to live. This is a trouble for our society. Most of educated people will go, and idiot man will stay here. It is a trouble. We have to face when trouble in our country near future. Technological factors. I think corona epidemic is a blessing for our education and other factors, I think, because most of teachers try to use mobile phone and other equipment, online education established. I think it is a blessing for us. But some rural areas, they can't reach their target using the Zoom and other things. Environment factors. I think without, there is no vehicles to go to school. They don't want to go to school because there is online education. So I think we can reduce the air pollutions and other things using the environment, using the new technology for the education. Legal practice. I think we can't recruit the teachers according to our opinion. There are so many restrictive laws for that. Therefore, we can't establish good and equality education for rural area. There is no enough teachers for the subject, especially maths and science. So next, microenvironment. It is called internal environment factors. external environment factors we can't change, we can't manage, but micro environment factors we can manage. The institute, especially customer. There are so many customers, students and parents and well-wishers and other things. So next one, employees. There are so many employees, SLTS, SLPS. There are so many categories. These days, they are facing many troubles with their salaries. Someone has given salary, someone haven't received the salary. There is a gap between these position. They are struggling getting their salary. Next one, competitors. I think most of government establishing new private universities and international school. There is a competing between these institute, government, public government universities and other private schools. There's a competition between supplies, textbook, school uniform, foods, vehicle, fuel, like a thing. So next chance we'll get Dilruk for soft analysis.
Before preparing the strategic management plan for the national education system, we should quality conduct quality analysis of the national education. Short analysis can be done for this. Short analysis is strategic planning tools. The evaluate the strength, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. Threats of the organization and organization strength and weaknesses are internal factors. Opportunity while opportunities and threats are external factors. So next I describe strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strength are our island-wide while have 11,336 schools, among them 372 national schools, 260,000 more than teachers, 10,000 more than principals, 19 College of Education, and weaknesses are unequal distributing of the resources, parent ignorance, cultural variations, quality in the teaching learning, less attractive curriculum, gap curriculum and labor market, and threats, poverty issues, teachers' motivation, national disasters, technological challenge, globalization, and opportunities are funds for the education, development of new online resources, academic collaboration, balance blended learning, equal examination method, working remotely. And so we can develop our strategical management plan, taking advantage weak strength and opportunities and reduce weaknesses and threats. Now I invite my next colleague, Chandivan.
Thank you. Earlier consider the external environment factors, analyze the external environment factors. In strategic position, objective is identify the internal environment factors. Internal environment, consider the strength and weaknesses. To analyze strength and weaknesses in detail, use value chain model as a tool. In value chain model, consider there are two kinds of activities, primary activities and supportive activities. Primary activities are the base activities for the obtaining our targets. Supportive activities are the provide supportive service for the primary activities. Both contributes to get the our objectives in we are achieving manner. Resource and competencies are the next analytical model in internal environmental factors. There are two kind of two types: threshold resource and threshold competencies. Those are the basic structural component. These are the survival factors for the organization to obtain objectives. Under the threshold resource, qualified teachers, administrative staff, infrastructure, basic furniture, likewise, same as threshold competencies, teaching learning process, general administration, syllabus coverage, likewise. Unique resources and core competencies are the other type of resource and competencies. Those provide the value to the main structure mentioned earlier, threshold resource and threshold competencies. Teachers with special skills and competencies, the teachers, that kind of teachers provide good, attractive teaching, learning skills and obtain good results for the students. Likewise, unique resource and core competencies are the value added for the basic structure previously mentioned. It's provide competitive advantages for the our objectives. Then I invite next part to
in the present education system, the first four are implemented in the formally, but lifelong education is not nobody speak about the lifelong education. Our midterm plan, we are going to formulate from free school system to the lifelong education. education plan is a vital for the sustainable development in the country. Education plan should be addressed to the economical demand in the country. Our 5-year plan, we are going to include the trust areas. Under the trust areas, we are going to discuss about the components, strategies, activities, and analysis. In the trust areas, we are going to discuss about the equity, quality, service delivery, and policy making. The next part is going to discuss Mr. Irshan.
Thank you, Kalum. I'm going to explain trust area which our group leader discussed earlier: equity, quality, service delivery, and policy and planning. First of we discussed strength, equity. That's mean we have a free education policy in Sri Lanka. Grade 1 to university level, there's a free educations, but there are some areas we should develop. That's why we put one first for the ensuring free education policy. Second one is the access. That means ensure all Sri Lankans should enjoy their free education in all levels, especially up to age 16. Second one, this one. Third, ensuring safe and learning environment. This means child-friendly schools and good environment for the study areas. Free education to up to university level. Good quality environment should be there for the high quality education. Fourth one is improving student health and nutrition program. So the health students should provide the better performance. That's why we put the fourth one for the health for the students. Finally, career guidance and counseling for the area for the equity. So those 5, we have put the 5 strategies for the development. First, we ensure in free education policy. We have tried to give the free education. We are suggest to the first one for the nursery. Nursery education should be free and give the free uniform and textbooks, and take the government to the necessary nursery education authorities. Every divisional or zonal level, there's an officer or director should be maintain the nursery pre-education. Second one is for the dropouts. Compulsory education, ensure the compulsory education. Although we are ensure 96% are enrolled our school system, but there are 4% are missing from our education. So compulsory education should be there. So we suggest to the appoint the officer in every zonal or divisional level for the ensure the compulsory. There's earlier in Sri Lanka, there are a compulsory education committee, but not there. They know is not implemented. So now each DS division or zonal education office, there's a compulsory education officer to ensure all the students are going to the schools. Fourth one is better environment for the schools. So we suggest to every school has a school garden, better environment to the study every student. Not only environment, but also there are good quality teachers, co-curricular and curricular activities, and good quality principles. Those are the good for the environment, for the better education. Fourth one is health and promotion. In Sri Lanka, earlier we faced the COVID-19, after that economic crisis, and all the things affected our economic. So the economically very low level in our developing country. Now the health and nutrition foods are very limited for the students. So ensure all the students got the quality meal and free meals, and aware for the illness such as dengue and everything. And finally, health promotion should the morning practice for the morning exercise. Finally, counseling and guidance and counseling for every schools. There should be the counseling unit and counseling teacher for the counsel and guidance for the students to develop their career well manner. Next one is quality, improve quality of general education. Quality education for the every level students. First, we should modernize and develop our curriculum. Second, develop school education and primary education. Fourth one, development STEAM, science methodology subjects. Finally, skill education for the improving transcendental socio-economic evolutional. That means value education, ethic and value education, develop the value education. For this area, we suggest, next slide. Fourth one, teacher development, teacher deployment. For the quality education, teacher deployment. Sixth one, quality assessment system, evaluation assessment system. Find good quality teaching and learning, improving student out, establish internal linkage with general education. Those are the we find the quality, improve the quality education. So we suggest the following strength for those quality education. First, next slide. Educational reforms. Now we are in our Sri Lanka. In general education, there are 3 category reforms. First one, primary education, 1 to 5. They are integrated reform. Second one, common curriculum. That's one, 6 to 11, common curriculum. In AL, there is a specialized curriculum, 12 and 13. So education reforms must be there, because you know in Sri Lanka, education reforms are totally exam oriented and memorized method. So education reforms should be there for the better future and working environment. Second one, language development program, especially we are linked with international world. So our English language and foreign language should be developed there. And not only that, in Sri Lanka also we need to develop the second language as a language. There's a second language, Sinhala and Tamil. So those languages should be developed for the better quality education and harmony in society. Third one is STEAM education. Now in Sri Lanka, they are implementing the STEAM education, science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics. So improvement technology STEAM for the develop team working and innovating, and technology education for the better working environment in future. Fourth one is value education, cultural and ethnic education. Every student should know other religious and other attitudes and everything. So that one develop the religious, aesthetics and cultural program. Finally, school-based professional teacher development. To the teacher deployment, there is a teacher recruitment, teacher transfer, teacher training. Those things in Sri Lanka we are now developing. So every student good quality education for there is need good teachers. Third one, we are strengthening the service delivery. First one is improving quality and standards of the education. Second one is school performance, school improvement program for school improvement, PSI program and SBM, school-based management for the management Fourth one is strengthening education administration level. Finally, professional capacity for education professionals. So the good sales delivery. First, we are developing management standards and good curriculum. Second one, school-based management program for given the school to all authority to maintain, manage the school level, school-based management for improvement for the school level authority. Bottom to up to level management program, there are the two program, school-based management and PSI for the management level. Fourth one, development cluster school model for developing the good quality education. There are so many disparities among the schools. So some urban schools are high quality and more facilities, but there are some rural schools, there are less facilities for development. For that one, develops the cluster school model. School is one school, cluster other school. That one school system can develop the good service delivery. Other one is capacity building for the officers, SLES, teachers and principals for the good quality for the strength for the good service delivery. Last one is policy and planning. There are in Sri Lanka, there are many stakeholders for the policy and planning program. National Education Commission for the formulating policies. Sorry. You. You. Okay, so I did next. You want to my chance to my next Surya Arachi.
Thank you, Rizwan. When we considered the formulating and evaluated strategy, last trust area is enhance evidence-based education, policymaking and planning. Strengthening education policies and planning, research and result-based monitoring and evaluations, and creation of public awareness programs on education achievements, and establishment of sector linkages. Strategies, preparation of 5-year plans, motivation for research, monitoring programs, programs cooperating with district committee. The next step will be delivered by Champika.
Thank you, Sevinder. Now I am going to discuss with you all about the implementation process of the strategic plan. This strategic plans consist of implementation strategy, specific plan and reporting. Second one is leadership. Third, change and change management. Fourth one is organization configuration and structure. And fifth one is organizational culture. These 5 factors are very important when we are implementing the strategic plan. Then we look at one by one. First one is implementation strategy. Here I am going to discuss with all specific plan and the reporting process, how we are going to have a specific plan. When we are planning, we have to think about the implementation manager. Then in the implementation of manager, we have to take very important decision, and we have to select a suitable person to carry out our main proposal and the strategies in the main plan. Then time is also very important. At what time the proposals are going to be established, we have to have separate plan for the time of the activities. Then we have to think about the quality of the activities that we are delivering, delivering in the main plan. Again, we have to think about the contingency. If anything happen in the environment, we have to change our plan, and so we have a separate optional plan to address the contingency. Then we have to consider about the communication, how, when, and with whom we are going to communicate with the main plan. Then we have to think about the main scope of the main plan. We have to we don't have to deviate from the main plan. Then again, we have to think about the reporting process, how we are going to assess our activities and who is the responsible person we are reporting. In this stage, we have to think about any deviation. If there is any deviation, we have to give reasons and how those deviation will overcome. We have to produce to our higher authority. Second one is another factor, leadership and resources. In here, we also have to select a good leader. When we selecting a good leader, we have to think about his or her skill. We have to think about the entrepreneurship, interpersonal skill, decision-making skills, solving skill, and the self-development skills of the leader. If we are not selecting a good leader, that will collapse our main purpose of the plan, and then the strategies will not be implemented properly or as we wish. So in this situation, I propose transformation leaders and the situational leadership style may give some advantages to implementing our main plan. Then change and change management is another thing we have to look very carefully, because earlier groups also discussed, we don't like to change our main purpose or main activity. So we have to take very important decision when we are changing to the main purpose, because resistance will come from the employee to when we are going to change our plan. There are 3 steps according to the Curtis-Lewis model. Unfreezing. In the unfreezing stage, we have to communicate with the people what we are going to change and why we are changing our main plan. That is very important to communicate. Then if they are very well aware of the our changes, then we can implement our change. Then again, we have to look at whether our plan is reprise. That means whether those change activities are permanent in our society. In change and change management process, we have to think about the driven process and the restriction process. We have to strengthen the driven process and we have to weaken the restriction process before we implement the plan. Here also we have to think about the change agent. Who will be the change agent? The change agent should be a very skillful person, or we have to get outside person to implement our strategies. At the end of the change process, we can come up with new KPI indicators, and also we will come up with the new structure of the organization. Then the organization configuration and the structure is also important. Before I going to discuss about the organization configuration, we have to think about the 3 major challenges that is happening to the organization. One is the flexibility of organization. If organization is not flexible enough to embrace our changes according to the surrounding, that strategy will not be able to get success. Then there should be an effective system, and then now we are
in a globalization process. So there is no physical barriers. In that kind of situation, we are working with the people in all over the world. So we have to think about those three challenges. Then very briefly, I will discuss the organization configuration and the structure of the organization, structure, process, and the relationship in the organization configuration, and responsibility, communication, and the skills in the organization structure also we have to consider, because there should be a smooth path to carry out our main plan. Then another, and the final one is, that is very important when implementing the strategic plan, that is organization culture. We all know that the basic, the culture represents the basic assumption and the belief of the organization member. So if we are not focusing on about the organization culture, our strategic plan will not be successful. So these 5 areas we have to consider about the when we implementation of the plan. Next, the monitoring of the plan will be discussed by Sasija. Over to Sasija.
Okay. Why is monitoring is important to the national education system? I am not asking, or I am not answering the question of that, because as educators, you have to discover the answer for that. Why is important? Why monitoring is important to the national education system? Yes, our presentation, we discussed that the strategic plan for the preschool education, primary education, secondary education, that means the general education, as well as tertiary education, vocational education, special education, as well as the lifelong, that means the adults learning. Then tell me, what is the purpose of the education system? I think you all know about that. The main purpose of any education system is the growing a student with necessary knowledge, skills, as well as values for the effective participation of the society. Yes, then our education system is fulfill that one. There is a big problem. Our education system is only targeting the exam results. Therefore, as a group, we decided a monitoring framework, not only for the results of the examination, but also the 3 components there, that is compliance monitoring, the diagnostic monitoring, and performance monitoring. Because in our presentation, the guidelines, the performance monitoring, only the performance monitoring is there. In our point of view, performance monitoring is the examination results, most probably, I think. But the compliance monitoring, that is the focus on the resources allocated, I think the teachers, textbooks, those are. And the diagnostic monitoring mean the how to contribute the teaching learning process, how students are learning. I think all the things we have to consider about monitoring the education system, not only the performance monitoring. So under that, we use some areas related to the whole education system, the data on student and teachers, then EMIS, you know that National Education Management System is there, the Human Resource Management Information System, that means the professionals deployment and recruitment, and inspection and appraisal system, then financial management system, because directly the Minister of Finance is allocating our budget, and the student evaluation. We took the student evaluation as a one main area for that. And as a measuring tool, we use BSCs, CSFs, and KPIs, and I'm not good. I'm not going to take one by one examples because of the time factor. There are around 30 minutes there, but the presenting a strategic plan for the national education system. I think it is not enough to around 30 minutes. So that's why we summarize that. And here we monitor individual and system level, as well as financial and using non-financial indicators. And each and every year, we evaluate the target as well as the performance. If there is a mismatch between the performance and target, we hope to revise the plan again. Then next, here are some CSFs and KPIs, some. Again, I told you that because of the time factor, we mentioned some strategies. The first one, I think you can read that, the uniform of preschools, because nowadays we are providing uniforms up to primary education onwards, but we hope to distribute the uniforms for preschools also. Here you can see that the CSFs as equity of education, and KPIs, we can say that the number of students. Likewise, I think you all can read this. The next, the third one, promote trilingual education. Earlier, my colleague said that there are some schools having trilingual education, but we hope to promote the more than trilingual schools in our education system. Then CSF is the harmony of nationalities as well as religions. Now we are separate some gap between the nationalities as well as religions. Therefore, we propose that one, and here the KPIs are the number of trilingual schools, number of trilingual students likewise. So those are the monitoring plan, because we are suggesting new monitoring framework for the new strategic plan for the national education system. Then finally, I want to say that the education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Malcolm X said that. As educators, we are the person who can change the world, who can change our Sri Lanka, because our motherland is in a dangerous situation. Now I am inviting you to make a better world, better education for our country. Thank you.
Only this group 6 is available, no? Yes. So I think they can make right comments on that. Very quick comments.
Now, about group 1, the best thing is they have 5 male presenters. That is the best thing I have found. And blue and yellow color matching is good. Contrasting colors were used in the presentation. Whether it was not visible in the big screen, but in the little screen, the colors were very good. Contrasting colors were used. And it includes a different outlook at the outset. Content was given at the outset, and purpose of the presentation was given separately. Target audience was given, and the uniformity in the group was seen. Even in the dress, all wore in white. The uniformity was there. Clear, concise, precise presentation could be seen. The slides were not packed with words. They were very clear. The thing is that presentation was little influenced by the prevailing general education plan. That's a plus point. The monitoring or the in part was powerfully done. They talked about compliance, diagnostic monitoring also. The previous groups, they didn't talk about these two. And if we give suggestions for improvement, it would be better if they follow the presentation guidelines given in the handbook regarding the font. And the other thing is, the next suggestion is, it would be better if they have practiced previously as a group together. They could have limit the time. The same thing happened to us, so that we suggest it. Thank you very much. Okay.
And I think this customizations has been done perfectly, I think. So I saw a lot of example, right? So that is one of the plus point. Then in addition to that, even this slide was okay, right? Except few spelling and grammar mistake. Somewhere I found that this program that was there were some errors. Then there was unequal distribution if resources. I think then move forwarded. I think no need to ED. I think. Right, so like that, I saw that some small errors. So since you have sacrificed lot, no, you stay until 5 past 10 or so, no, we'll give 22.5 marks for them. Right. Right. Then thank you very much. Then no one is to discuss about this. The next assignment, no, right? Huh? This.
No, sir. We are waiting for that.
This individual assignment, actually the same structure should be used, right? Only thing is the you have to use your this working institute, no? So whatever the place you are working. That's not an issue. Huh? Yeah. No, if you write the same thing, then the problem, right? So otherwise, no, this will say, for example, vision, mission, those things may be the same, but when it comes to the objectives and strategies, so you have to develop your own one. No? Therefore, I don't think that that's an issue, right? So I'm going to mark it. No, there will be no much issues. Then, even if you can use some other organization, right? That's not an issue, right? But it should be connected with the educations. So. Yeah, same. Now I easy, no? It's not a difficult one, I think. So exam paper, I think you have requested to make it online, no? Right? Sorry, no, open book, right? So we will have it right as an open book. Dates. So for my end, there is no issue, right? Then this they have to take decisions on that, right? Then you need to make it advance. Right. So at the moment, what I have planned is to have 5 questions, right, in 3 hours. Right? Is 7. No, there will be no selection. Open book, no. Yeah. This open book and 5 questions. So I will try to provide some specimen for you. So then you can work on that one, no? Right? Then, but specimen may not be connected to the education industry. Right? Then in the paper, all will be connected to the education industry. Then you can go through that one, and then you can do the customization later, no? Right? So area like main areas like value chain, balance scorecard, those can be tested. But I don't think that I need to test sort of pestle. Those things can be ignored, right? Value chain, vision, mission, those are also not required. I think those are known facts, right? So we'll see like that, right? Right, then thank you very much for coming for far distance places, right?